thank you, Carolyn. My paper isn't like any of the others. I'm feeling a bit embarrassed, like I'm in the wrong conference, and clearly I've already made an issue. And medieval doesn't tend to have an A in it now because it's that AE. It's a diphthong. Search engines won't recognise it.
Is that?
That's one of the reasons why it's dying a death. I mean, I agree with you. It looks beautiful. So I hope you can hear me, everybody. And this isn't at all sexy, which is, I'm sure, a complete disappointment. Carolyn wanted me to chat about how you put in a funding application for a local studies project, which is what my medieval animals is. And specifically that development of the National Lottery Heritage Fund Medieval Animals in East Kent. And I just wanted to say straight up how much help I have received from everybody, including lots of people here today. And you know who you are. Thank you very much indeed. And my friends, even my family occasionally. And also I wanted to say, not that they're here, but I wanted to thank RIFU, that's the funding research funding unit, for discussing, for aiding, for supporting me all the way through this project. And if you are going to put in something, RIFU are people to seek out and applaud. Okay, just going to tell you a little tiny bit about what the project is. So here it is, that lion, that beautiful medieval lion from the Rochester Bestiary. That's in the British Library. Royal Manuscript 12F13, might be the way around, might be 1312F. There is that gorgeous gilded background lion breathing life and hope into his cubs after they've been stillborn. 3 days later he comes along and breathes life into them, following Christ being on the cross for 3 days. It's that link that comes through the bestiary. So its project is to engage local communities, and we are particularly focusing on families whose children have special needs, to engage them with wonderful green heritage, of which Peter is the person to talk about rather than me. I'll just say it's a pleasure that he's here. And green heritage is like ordinary heritage, but includes the flora and fauna, includes biodiversity and ecology as well. So the core values of the project are heritage, naturally, the biodiversity, sustainability and well-being, not only of the people who come along, our families and other people, but also our volunteers and indeed me. Because if I'm happy, I always think that probably other people are too. How do I? Yeah, there we go. Oh, wasn't expecting to do that. Right, okay. So I still feel diffident about speaking with you today on this topic. It's an unfortunate aroma of blowing your own trumpet, you know. It's quite naff, isn't it? So let's turn it round, put you in the driving seat, okay? This little tour is around about putting a bid together and how you feel about doing it. It's a lot about emotional intelligence, and this is why I'm saying it's completely different to everything else we've done today. So I'm sorry, Karen, it doesn't sort of follow on from the 2 brilliant papers we've had already. So please think of your research area and the part or parts that you love. You know, that really key, gets you up in the morning moment, that sexy bit, if you like. Presumably that love isn't for putting in funding proposal, bear with me. But you know the reasons you became a researcher. What made you step out on that journey? You see maps there, that's my journey maps reference, okay? Still makes you happy. And because, of course, there's a lot of emotion and a great deal of emotional intelligence on that journey towards putting a bid together. How do you feel at that starting point moment? What would you share with others? I'm not going to ask you to write it out. I'm not asking questions or being embarrassing like that. I'm just asking to, you know, have a think. For me, way back, you know, sometime during the Jurassic period, of course. It was the chance to study original manuscripts in the British Library for my MA dissertation. That was with John Arnold. It was, Caroline Dinshaw phrases it as that queer touching across time, a connection to past lives and ideas that I still find exhilarating. I think the way, maybe, Ralph, that you feel about reaching out and discovering these photographs and these people who came over to Canterbury in the late 19th century, and your persistent scribblers and your beautiful ideas about women writers coming to the seaside. You know, something that really grabs you there, isn't there? It really makes you want to do more. So a connection that I still find exhilarating. But archival research, well, it's quite a lonely pursuit, hardly well sexy. This whole talk doesn't seem to be going anywhere at all, does it? Oh gosh, I'm so embarrassed. Anyway, the point is to craft a project. The project about a concept you love that will help people outside of the university, that reaches outside our comfort zones of teaching and publishing, and enriches other lives. Share that love, because people may neither understand nor want to, and excuse me here, learn about, say, the pamphlets of an obscure 19th century local writing group. But they may be very interested in themes of passion, jealousy and hate, and we've had some interesting conversations about that. That was a quote from Casablanca, I think, the song in Casablanca, that your research has revealed, yeah? It turns that dusty archival research around and transforms it into the beating heart of the community, yeah? So you've got the love, something that you want to celebrate, think would really work, but then work for whom, yeah? Who's your audience? If Caroline has posited to me, it's a local study. It's easy, local people, as people usually interested in something in our own area. But refine that audience, schools, communities, retirees, young job hunters. How could your idea help specific sectors, and in what ways? What works? So I thought that my work on medieval Latin bestiaries from Canterbury was interesting. I have to say, not many people agreed with me. Indeed, my own family would generally run a mile rather than listen to me. And you may be feeling at this stage of this talk that they have a point. Hence the turning round of the process. What merits do others see in your research idea? There's the rub, yeah? Who can help you bring that idea into fruition? Are we okay? Yes, fine. Well, research sandpits can be very useful. Sometimes they feel a bit forced and sometimes a little bit pressured. I prefer conferences, but they can be discipline, well, they nearly always are discipline based, aren't they? And you may need cross-disciplinarity. Nevertheless, the chance to learn how to turn over a page quickly, how to learn about other people's research is just golden, because finding a friend who values your work is life enhancing. So the concept's there, it's been tried out on friends and colleagues, it could benefit other people. All you need's the money. No problem then. Well, I met Penny talking about medieval annals in bestiaries. I say bestiary, but I don't mind bestiary, okay? As bearers of emotional meanings. And Penny saw at once that such tropes could be useful for children with special needs to help them understand their meaning, their feelings. For example, what could be angrier than a dragon? Yeah. What could be braver than a lion? What's more loyal, more friendly than a dog? And these tropes, these medieval tropes from the bestiary, those all do come from the bestiary, are very useful in giving children ideas about how to explain their feelings when perhaps they found that difficult. We thought we'd apply for a smaller pot of money, run some workshops. So we approached the National Lottery's South East office. Well, Penny did, because I was in too much of a funk to do anything really. Now they were encouraging. That's a nice warm fuzzy feeling, isn't it? Yes. And there's always that but, isn't there? There's always that but, yeah. They wanted more. They wanted to give us more money for a more ambitious project, and my result, I fell Eek is how I felt. Eek about sums it up. Right, so then the work begins. Growing a project that teams your ideas with a funder's remit. That is matching benefits. Arts and crafts workshops for children. Our original idea. Well, that's not good enough. Where's the heritage? What else can you offer? Taking children's drawings of medieval beasts and projecting them on the wall of St. Augustine's Abbey as a Sonnet-Lumière. Oh no, I thought that was a really nice idea, that. Oh no, good footfall, gosh, I should have practiced this, but not deep enough engagement. Taking the gorgeous medieval bestiary illustrations and turning them into 3D gardening projects. Absolutely not. No, the lottery does not want statues. I put bugger then, what then? What did they like? What else had they funded? Yeah, so Finding Ainsworth, a terrific project, got £80,000 on the back of the previous Folkestone in the Town Uncovered project about community archaeology targeted at army veterans, emphasising a unique local heritage. They were working on with multi-ethnic groups and volunteers to trace the local watercourse, the history and relics of the local saint, female saint as well. Glossy, beautiful website. I love their website. Talks, fairs, digs, films, exhibitions. Yum. Lots of bums on seats. Huge amounts of work. Fabulous project. Well, challenge accepted, I thought. How hard can it be? So we thought about how our project could address key themes and put together an exciting, and I have to say, very complex bid that spoke not only to local heritage, but to various groups' involvement. And in it went, following SMT approval and loads of costings that Rifu checked for me, because I'm afraid that maths fell out my brain at some point during my PhD. And this was back in March 2020. So timing is everything. All pipeline projects were cancelled by the Lottery Fund in April 2020. Pretty well a year's work for nothing, and I wasn't concentrating at all because my mother had just died. It was a very bleak time indeed. It would have been very easy to give up. But 9 months later, and I recovered a bit, I suppose, as well, we received an email to say limited funds might be forthcoming for pipeline projects that had been COVID cancelled. Well, with extra strings. So not only did they want heritage and community engagement centred on local and appealing themes, the world had moved on. We all know that. The world has changed irrevocably. Now, in addition to more people being engaged with the heritage, learning new skills, gaining greater understandings, now there is much, much more to include. For example, rightly, entirely rightly, diversity and inclusivity, which impacts all areas. Website accessibility, online child safety, student volunteer safeguarding, Creative Commons, digital outputs, commercial opportunities. More still on sustainability. The project must benefit and not harm the world. So that's green travel plans, sustainability checks, recycling, and yet more, much more crucial for us, well-being. How do you bring in and measure well-being, and how do you evaluate the project properly? Well, 5% of the project monies has been set aside for evaluation, and I would say Helen Wright is your friend here. And we're actually making a link with another centre as well to help us with that. Well, we resubmitted in April 2021 and heard in June we'd been entirely unsuccessful. So this is really sad. That's strength testing. There's so much competition for funding. There's so much need and so much disappointment. But here's a tip I expect lots of you already know. Ask why. When the answer was quite surprising, well, it's surprising to me considering the really horrible letter I received saying thank you but no thank you, we had to resubmit because they'd simply run out of funds for that quarter. I nearly didn't bother to call. And they'd put a whole new online grant procedure, so everything had to be rewritten. And they queried how much we were doing. So I put in a costed single-page executive summary introducing the project plans, and we heard in mid-August that we had been 100% successful, all £99,800, because if you go over 100 grand, There's a whole new set of hoops you have to jump through. I was in a silent coach on the train home when I heard, and I so wanted to stand up and yell and shout, and I had to keep mum, so it was quite difficult. Do you see what I mean about finding something you love? Yeah, the funding process was and is so much work that you need love, passion, belief to sustain you. You need to be resilient, they're open to change, flexible and adaptable. And when you hit an obstacle, you have to be creative in overcoming it. And those qualities you've honed during the application process will be even more useful and entirely necessary when you are running the project. So here's some of what we've achieved so far. I wish everybody who's going for a project good luck. Kindness and support have been given by so many people to this project, and I am just utterly grateful and so blown away by our colleagues, our students, our volunteers and our partners. They're all wonderful people, and this is, I have to say, unbiasedly at all, a great project. So here we are. Here's our impact lion. Family events today. We are tiny. We've been given quite a lot, but we're actually tiny. We only have about 16 special needs children on any of our family trips, but we take their families and any children else they want to bring in, because the whole point is it's a family activity. We've got some mixed ethnic backgrounds. We go from 3 to 76 so far, and that's because grandparents are also welcome. It's mixed abilities. Majority of people come from deprived socioeconomic groups. We have more dates to come in the next weekend. We're going to Maison Dieu. We went to Wildwood on Saturday. We've got the Powell Cotton Museum coming up as well. It's another 40 families, more events. We book out, generally speaking, within 2 hours of putting our events online. That's an indication of the need of that this project is fulfilling and trying to fulfill, and the extent to which that need is out there and we're not doing enough. Here's some of the learning from guided tours to quizzes. We have been helping families learn about the amazing medieval animal heritage of East Kent. And comments like, I love the quiz, crazy fun. They thought lynx pea made amber. I love that idea. Really weird. You can see here that we never take pictures of children's faces. That's why there's lots of photos of people's backs there. But arts and crafts, quizzes, hand-on exploration to develop participants' skills and teamwork, boost their confidence, teach them new things. Some of the artwork looks good because the parents are doing it with their children and they're enjoying doing it as well. So it's very much a shared activity. And self-esteem and well-being. These smiley faces, some better drawn than others, you'll see there, are our way of evaluating the project at the end of the day, quickly and happily. So it was so good to get out with the family and do something together in the fresh air. Yep, we catered for everything, including wheelchairs. Then today was epic. X is 17. He's never managed to go off on his own without me in a public place. Today, because we'd done the tour, done the quiz, been relaxed into the place and he knew people around the site, he was brave enough to go off around the zoo and explore on his own, and I could have a coffee on my own. This is amazing. He chatted to some of the people we'd met earlier during the session, came back so happy and proud of himself. I can't overestimate what an amazing breakthrough this is, given his anxiety and special needs. Another corollary to that we heard since, he's been able to get to the shop by himself now too. So that means he can have a life. This is really important stuff. Another part of the project is to build an eco space for children to visit, children with special needs to visit, and it's being hosted in the Franciscan Gardens. I'm just putting together the final submission to Historic England to allow us to build this dragon in the Franciscan Gardens, which is fabulous, being designed by these five chaps here. It's Ahmed, Rubin, Jamil, Tariq and Colin from London. They're from University of Kent. They're architects, student architects. So you throw the ball in, it's recyclable woolen ball, the sort of thing you put in your tumble dryer, I think. and you throw it all the way. It goes all the way down the bottom and turns up in the bottom of the tail. And the balls are the side panels. So they turn into the scales of the dragon. There's storage. There are things like workboards, blackboards. There's a hammock so you can relax underneath if it's all too much. And here's the narrative. The dragon descended upon Canterbury to guard the children of Greyfriars. And that beautiful building is the Greyfriars Chapel. So in a space of medieval holistic healing, we are putting in another place and space to help special needs children enjoy their heritage. So, I know I finished early, but thank you everybody for listening.